Hey, Taylor Johnson here. If you're listening to this, you've either made a great choice or you've accidentally clicked something while scrolling. Either way, you should stay. This is Pop Culture Pastor.
Pop Culture Pastor.
Okay, Cody. I've been thinking, I think we need to have like a live event, a Pop Culture Pastor live event where you and me and I don't know, maybe a couple of our guests that we've had over the years, we sit down and just watch a movie, Mystery Science 3000 style, where we just watch a movie with the audience and we just make comments. And I don't care what movie that is, but it has to be a Terrence Malick movie. And the whole time we're just, oh gosh, this is so pretentious.
So I've only seen I think I've only seen 2 films by him. And they were both like, what am I doing with my life?
The Tree of Life. I've talked about it before. It's a rough watch for me. The whole time, I think I probably sighed so much in that movie.
So The New World was the first one that I watched. And like, you have Colin Farrell, Christopher Plummer's in it, Christian Bale's in it.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is going to be great. And it's going to be a live action Pocahontas. Oh my goodness, there was no action.
Terrence Malick is a respected filmmaker by all accounts. I don't understand it, but that's the reality we live in. And listen, I'm not usually so hard on people, but like, oh my goodness, I just don't like what this guy does. But
you can tell me it's very nuanced, and I will say it's too nuanced.
It's so nuanced, I don't know whether I'm conscious. Okay, why are we talking about Terrence Malick? Well, he came up in the news somewhat because of something our friend James Cameron did.
JC.
And like now, we're in like a pretentiousness battle for the ages. You get these two on, we're like, oh no, what happened?
And I think with where our Be Kind Rewind comes from, there's another pretentious individual that will make an appearance in today's episode.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to hear the connection because I'm not following you at all.
Oh, I'll bring it up when we get there.
All right. Actress Q'orianka. I'm probably butchering that name, but Q'orianka Kilcher.
Yes.
Who you may sound familiar to you if you remember back in a while back, if you're old like me. She's suing James Cameron and Disney, alleging that Cameron took her facial features from a published photograph when she was 14, just after she'd played Pocahontas in Terrence Malick's The New World, and used them as the foundation for Neytiri in Avatar without her consent. So the complaint says her likeness was replicated in production sketches, sculpted into 3D maquettes, which I guess is a technical term, laser scanned into digital modes, distributed across VFX vendors, then ended up in theaters, on posters, in merchandise, and across sequels. The smoking gun comes in a recent broadcast interview where James Cameron himself stood in front of the Neytiri sketch and named the actress directly.
JC, you can't do that.
Saying that the actual source was a photo in the LA Times of a young actress named Q'orianka Kilcher and that he used her lower face. What was he thinking?
He wasn't thinking.
He was just thinking, well, I'm stealing everything else about this movie.
Exactly.
Years ago, apparently, after the 2009 release of Avatar, Cameron invited her to his office and left her a framed sketch with a note, "Your beauty was my early inspiration for Neytiri. Too bad you were shooting another movie next time." She says she took it as a loose compliment, not evidence of an industrial design process. So I think over the years, she has learned just how far this went.
Yes, and my dear friend JC has made other Avatar films since then.
Yeah. And so her attorney, the line that her attorney is going with is, what Cameron did wasn't inspiration, it was extraction. That is not filmmaking. That is theft. And this is leaking into like our conversations today around AI.
Yeah.
So this is all very similar. This is very thing. And apparently he was doing this long before we were having this discussion with AI. So the inspiration versus extraction thing, Cody, where's the line between an artist being inspired by a real person and straight up using that person? And does it change when the subject is a 14-year-old indigenous girl?
So
does that make it worse?
I feel that there is something to be said about that.
Yeah. Right?
That age component is very much a big thing, because now it's not even her consent. It's her and her parent or guardian's consent that you should be thinking about there.
But then you get into the indigenous part and you're like,
another white man stealing.
Right? Like, oh, James, we did not consider this at all, man.
Oh, yeah. He kind of stepped in it big time.
Yeah. Big time. I just can't imagine. I mean, Avatar's whole message is about having indigenous people having their land, bodies, and resources taken by a powerful outside force. The irony writes itself, Cody. Does this change anything? Like, will this make any noise, or will they just pay her and it'll go away?
James Cameron was method writing and directing.
He was his all method.
Yes.
He was his all metaphor and allegory of what he was actually doing. I am stealing this story and calling it original, and then I'm stealing someone's face.
This could be a sequel to Face Off.
Cody, if someone you trusted told you a sketch was a loose inspiration of you for a movie character in a billion-dollar franchise, and you found out 15 years later that you were the actual literal blueprint for the character, how fast would you sue for millions?
Oh, yeah. In this culture, in this time, especially with the lack of sincerity in like even just asking by my friend James, you gotta sue.
Yeah. I'm not even sure. I'm having fun with it. I don't want to imply that she's money hungry, because I'm not even really sure what this would do to someone in their mind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even sure. Like, so I had my Facebook account hacked once, which sounds so trivial, but all my memories were on there. There were all these
Somalian pirates hijacked it.
I'd had the Facebook account since the dawn of Facebook. So it was double-digit years, and all the photos of my kids when they were little were on there. And I didn't have duplicates of some of them. And so I felt like this violation that she must feel on a much bigger level, but I don't even know how you even moved your thinking into like, oh yeah, then this dude made billions of dollars on it.
So for her, part of her way to make money is her image, her likeness. That's her career. Acting, you're selling the image and the sound. Yeah. And we have issues when we see people put on makeup to look like some ethnicity or race that they are not.
Right.
And we have issues when there's blatant, like, well, we didn't want to pay Tom Hardy, so we got this guy in the Suicide Squad that looked like Tom Hardy. There's all these things out there that like, this is known in the industry, and yet James Cameron like crossed the line on multiple of those items.
I mean, I laugh, but Back to the Future 2 famously.
Oh yeah, Crispin Glover sued the pants off of the studio.
Right, they don't invite him back,
which I don't blame them.
Right, he's an out there kind of guy. But then they bring in the new guy and they make him up to look like Crispin Glover. Not the character. They make him up to look like Crispin Glover.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, dude. Yeah, this is interesting. It's an interesting thing that's happening now amidst all these other conversations about AI and what someone's likeness is worth and what it means. And yeah, so this is interesting stuff.
And you know who else could sue?
Oh, who's that?
The Blue Man Group.
Cody with the one-liner.
Yes.
There's also another story going on this week that I kind of wanted to talk about.
Uh-oh.
And that's the Masters of the Universe movie. Are you
He-Man?
That's the one. He-Man. Some people seem to be excited about this. I'm sort of excited about it, but you got to understand, like, He-Man is a niche that is, in the grand scheme of 80s nostalgia things, is a little bit smaller than like your Transformers, your G.I. Joe. I mean, people forget G.I. Joe is a brand from like the 50s.
So I put it in like a similar space as Thundercats.
Yeah, exactly.
That like you either know it and probably like it, or you're like, what are you even talking about, my dude?
Silverhawks. There's a whole bunch of them where, yeah, if you just happen to be in on it, you're like, oh, yeah, I love that. And then there's a lot of people who are like, never heard of it.
And now it's probably best known in meme culture for the what's going on music video and the Skeletor memes where he gives helpful advice and runs away.
It's a great meme. Well, here's the story. So early box office tracking for this Masters of the Universe movie, this Amazon MGM Master of the Universe movie, it's rough. Pre-sales are pointing to roughly a 25 million opening weekend. That's the projection. 25 to 35 million. So the movie is due to hit theaters June 5th. And the problem isn't like 25 million, because you hear 25 million, you think, oh, that's a good amount of money. But the problem is the budget. The reported production budget is, quote, below 200 million, which, what is that? I love that these movie studios won't tell you the actual budget now. They're real tricky with the numbers. But one source is kind of putting it roughly in the $170 million area, which y'all spent $170 million on a He-Man movie?
My friend Jeff has money to be investing in He-Man.
Let's like full stop for a second. Can we just analyze something as pastors, as men of the cloth, as ministers, whatever, as people of the real world?
Yes.
Isn't it hilarious that after Jeff Bezos got divorced from his now ex-wife and they had to split a ridiculous amount of money, like
unbelievable numbers.
On one hand, Cody's right. It doesn't even matter what he spends and what he loses on a movie, because it just doesn't matter.
No.
But isn't it funny how they've spent their money since?
Yeah.
Because here's his wife out giving like millions to charity. She's like the largest philanthropist in the world for the last, since they got divorced. Did you know that?
Eat your heart out, Bill and or Melinda Gates.
Like, it's not even close. She's just giving money away. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos is making He-Man movies. I don't care if it loses money. I'm Jeff Bezos.
And Rings of Power.
On one level, I'm like, well, hey, thanks, Jeff. That's I'm going to enjoy this, obviously. Yeah. So here's the problem, Cody. The budget is, let's just go through this. 170 million. That's the starting point. That's what they're reporting. A source reports using the standard 2.5 times rule for blockbuster profitability. This film needs to hit around 440 million just to break even. And that's before you factor in the marketing spending, which none of the studios report. But for a film this size, typically around another 100 million, because you're seeing these commercials. They're out there. So a $25 million opening on a $170 million movie, just basic budget, that's the sort of number that gets executives writing apology memos.
Yes. Now, I do think there is a chance with this that if it pushes all the right nostalgia buttons, that it can take off.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I want to say is like, can it start off small and go big? Maybe, but it's got to be something in that vein of the first Super Mario movie, Cobra Kai, even as a TV series, where people watch it and then the word of mouth blows up because it's so charming in its nostalgia that people just dig it. But then we're getting into this problem of, like, I don't think Hollywood has really mastered that. Like 8 out of every 10 of these nostalgia products are just they don't have the authenticity needed. It's like the cracks. It's seeping through the cracks that corporate just wants to make money off your nostalgia.
This movie also has one other big problem, I believe.
And it's not the main character's name is He-Man?
No, it's not that.
Tell me.
Do you know who plays Skeletor?
Then there's the Jared Leto problem. The most recognizable actor in this movie is Jared Leto. Only he's not recognizable.
That might work in their favor. I don't know.
It does. That might work. So yeah, that's actually some of the issues you have here. You've got no huge star pull. Jared Leto is the biggest name, and he's Skeletor, which, like, look, in the trailer, he looks pretty sweet. The Skeletor looks great in the trailer. Way better than my guy did in the 80s movie with Dolph Lundgren.
My question is, since he is a method actor, how did this impact the set?
Did he just write in and give hard to hear tips and then roll away on his little speeder bike?
I hope so.
Yeah, so I think the other big problem with Masters of the Universe, Cody, is the IP itself. This is a rather short-lived animated series that is coming off the tails of as far as this century, but it's well removed from its peak. And as we said, it wasn't like an all-encompassing peak to begin with. It's not. This is not Star Wars. This is not even Transformers.
No, it's not Transformers.
This is such a smaller capture of kids. And like, granted, I was one of these kids. I had tons of the He-Man figures. They're cool because you could pop their arms off and put them on different characters.
It's a mix and match set.
But it's another one of these 80s properties that was so clearly bent on selling toys. Even the cartoon itself. So the lore is real thin. It doesn't have a lot of real deep lore. I haven't watched the new stuff. Maybe Kevin Smith expanded on his Netflix thing.
I like to think my friend Kevin did.
He probably did, but the 80s stuff's very thin. It's very similar to G.I. Joe. And we all know what happened when they tried to do the G.I. Joe stuff here in the 21st century. It just doesn't really work because it was a fad based on selling toys, which worked back in the 80s, but doesn't really work now. Because then you're stacking it on top of another corporate structure that just wants to make money off your nostalgia. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, Cody. I feel like even if they make a good movie here, I think it's got a long uphill battle. This could be a huge bomb.
But Amazon owning it and probably having exclusive rights on the after theatrical run, they can make back some of that.
Well, there are some good signs in that regard too, because yeah, you're right. Like Amazon might pull it after a few weeks in the theater and just say, all right, we'll put it on streaming. And a lot of people probably would wait for streaming. So here's the other part. The January teaser earned 38 million YouTube views. And the trailer had 26 million views in March. So there is attention. It's not like it's not getting any attention.
The trailer looks cool.
The director, Travis Knight, has a strong word-of-mouth track record. He made Bumblebee, which was the only live-action Transformers film that critics kind of liked.
It was good.
So yeah, I mean, it's not dead in the water. But yeah, something needs to happen because Jared Leto, he doesn't have a good track record.
His 1 in 5 movies have become like 1 in 10.
The Jared Leto rule is stretching. All right, it's time for us to Be Kind Rewind. We're going to go into the studio and we're going to talk Empire Strikes Back. All right, Cody. Time for our Be Kind Rewind on Empire Strikes Back. I thought about doing a whole skit where we could have played the music, possibly got a copyright strike, of them like getting me ready for the carbon freezing and you being like, I love you. And me can be just coolly going, I know.
Such a quotable scene, and this movie has a lot of quotes.
Yeah. Before we even get into it, you can really tell the impact of real filmmakers working on this. This, like, listen, that's going to sound like George Lucas slander. But I'm not trying to slander George Lucas. It's really not his thing to be all of the above, like, which he does on the other Star Wars movies, where he's writing the script, he's directing the movie, he's in charge of everything, right?
All the prequels in the original.
Yeah, this movie is not that. He's got like real filmmakers, and I just think you can tell.
Earlier, I teased another pretentious individual being linked. George was who I was talking about. Him and JC had a good conversation, like they were interviewing each other, and he was talking about like how he based the villains in Star Wars off the Viet Cong.
Yeah.
Because he said some other things that I was like, might be a bit revisionist history.
Yeah, George does get political from time to time. And yeah, I've noticed that his political version of reality might be a little warped. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, often it is for most of us, because we tend to really exaggerate who the good guys and who the bad guys are. Like a Star Wars movie.
Yes.
When reality is not really like that. Usually, for the most part, we very rarely get the kind of situation that lacks more nuance than that, where it's the evil empire versus the gritty rebellion, you know, and maybe that's why we like stuff like this. But I tell you what, you can't argue. James Cameron and Lucas both might be pretentious, but you can't argue with the results.
Box office gold.
It's nearly impossible to talk about this movie without being just Star Wars nerd, right? Because I'm going to attempt to talk about this movie in a way where I'm analyzing, or we're doing a Be Kind rewind on it, but it's almost impossible to not talk about this movie and the way you felt about it when you were a kid. Cody, I know you're a little bit younger than me, so
Child of the 80s.
Where does this movie hit you?
It hits me with the TV version, because like it gets aired on television, but it gets chopped in pieces, and so like occasionally it would be on, and this was one that, like, as a kid, I don't know if I ever saw the beginning, because I just came in from outside and it's on. Okay, we're just going to pick up wherever we're at, because there was no rewinding. Now, once I got into my teen years, I owned it on, first I owned it on VHS and then DVD. And then by then my friend George was like, I'm editing the ends of these. So then Darth Vader doesn't look like this random white guy, but this other white guy.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I have a similar experience as you. That doesn't happen very often. But this movie comes out in 1980. It's almost as old as I am. So I'll be 50 this year. This movie's going to turn 46 this year. And as such, this is not a movie I saw in the theater. It's a movie I saw on videotape. And by the way, dubbed videotape, like we taped it off of HBO.
Yeah,
it's not the greatest quality, but I remember we watching it over and over again, along with Return of the Jedi, which is one of the first movies I see in the theater. So the original Episode 4 and this one, Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, these are movies I watch after the fact. And honestly, Cody, I can't remember if I watched. It might be that Return of the Jedi is the first one I watch. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I honestly can't remember how this hits me as a little kid, because I know that I never get the moment in this movie that people older than us will talk about, when he says, Luke, I am your father.
He does not say that.
When he says, I am your father.
No. I am your father.
Whatever. I was paraphrasing.
So that is something I will bring up later.
Yeah. But I know that there are people out there who saw that in the theater and were just like, no, even though Vader means father in German.
What?
But for some people, that's a huge moment, and it's still a huge moment. You can still lose yourself in that moment. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's crazy. It's everything about that scene is so well crafted that you can definitely lose yourself in it. The music too. Boy, the music. We'll get to that later. But yeah, so it's kind of impossible to sit down and watch this movie semi-objectively because I'm a fan. And frankly, not only am I a fan of Star Wars, or I was a fan, because I don't know that I would call myself a fan anymore. And I don't mean that to start this whole other conversation. I just mean that to say I'm just not as interested in it as I was, and I'm not going to get into the reasons why.
So this intellectual property, the levels, there's levels to fandom. So you have, like, within the pop culture, you say Star Wars, people at least will be like, oh, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, whatever. And then you have people that are like, oh, I watch these occasionally. Then you have people that are like, I have watched everything, including all the Clone Wars and all that. And then there's the people that are like, I've watched everything, I've read everything, I have a thesis on what Boba Fett would do.
Yeah. Well, and that's interesting too, because for young people, they don't understand that we just didn't have anything new for a long time. When Return of the Jedi comes out in, what is that, 83, 84? There's just nothing for, I don't know, 15 years at least. There's nothing because there were books. There was the extended universe, the EU, Timothy Zahn, Heir to the Empire, which honestly, that stuff was great. It was awesome. But there was nothing until the special editions. He re-releases the movies, the actual classic ones, and then the special editions come out. And by the way, I know people rail on the special editions, and for a lot of various reasons. I'm pretty grateful for those at the time, especially because it allowed me to see episode 4 and 5 in a theater experience with a full theater. And I treasure that. I remember I was smiling ear to ear watching those two movies in the theater.
That would be nice.
Yep. So I was grateful for that. But it is always important to point out, like, yeah, there's just nothing movie or TV wise for years.
Now there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Too much stuff, one might say. So let's just get into this. The basics here. 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, 97% audience score. It's the highest critic score of any Star Wars film on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's interesting.
Metacritic has an 82 out of 100, and IMDb is 8.7 out of 10, which makes it the number 15 top-rated film by IMDb users. Director, I did point out that there's real movie people involved in this. Irvin Kershner was the director, even though he turned it down at first, but his agent accepted the job on his behalf. Kind of forced him into it. And the screenplay, this is the other thing. The story's by George Lucas here, but the screenplay is not him. The script is written by Lee Brackett and Lawrence Kasdan. Lawrence Kasdan, a huge name in Hollywood. And so, you have these actual experienced people, and I'm not trying to bag on George Lucas. He had experience. He'd been involved in other things, but it may not have been his specialty like these guys.
Yes. I might be able to do some small plumbing repairs, but you don't want me to install your whole plumbing system to your house.
Yes. Originally, this is going to kill you. The budget was originally $18 million.
Whoa.
It ballooned to $35 million, Cody.
Sheesh.
Well, yeah. Very amazing to think about. Highest grossing film of 1980. It won 2 Academy Awards, if you need it. 2 Grammys. Won 2 Grammys and a BAFTA. Added to the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress in 2010. And so, yeah, that's kind of your standard information there. So behind the scenes, things you might not have known. Kirshner, I mentioned the screenwriter, he didn't want the job. He turned down the directing job at first. His agent accepted on his behalf without telling him. Then he had to figure out how to direct one of the most anticipated sequels in film history that he didn't even want to make. The first script writer died before filming.
Woof.
Lee Brackett, a legendary sci-fi writer, she wrote The Big Sleep and Rio Bravo. She wrote the first draft of the screenplay. She died of cancer shortly after completing it. And Lawrence Kasdan was brought in to rewrite. And Kasdan kind of goes on to become one of the more important Star Wars writers ever, because he also has a hand in Return of the Jedi, but also The Force Awakens and Solo.
Oh.
Yeah, it started off good, and then we're like, oh, well, okay. He's still, great. Just before production began in January 1979, a fire in Elstree Studios Stage 3, where Stanley Kubrick was filming The Shining, destroyed the space planned for Empire sets.
Is that an omen?
I'd say anything to do with The Shining is yes. Empire had to give up 2 stages so The Shining could continue, and they had to move 64 sets and 9 stages completely after this. So the Hoth scenes were filmed in Finse, Norway, and while they were there, the area was hit by the biggest snowstorm they'd ever had in 100 years. That's what we'd call kismet.
It is.
Normally, that would shut down production, but Kirshner saw an opportunity, and he sent Mark Hamill out alone in a blizzard and filmed him from inside the hotel through a window. Get out there, Mark. Get out there and pretend to be on a tauntaun. The Echo Base extras in the Hoth scenes, the rebel troops, they were all real Norwegian mountain rescue skiers.
Nice.
Yeah. Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan.
Old Ben?
I'm sorry, Sir Alec Guinness. He returned as a Force ghost in this movie. He filmed his scenes on the final day of production. He arrived at 8:30 a.m. He was done by 1 p.m. That's 4.5 hours of work. He was paid 0.25% of the gross. That was the contract.
Whoa.
I'm not going to do the math for you, but that's going to work out to a lot. My guy, Alec Guinness, made a good deal for 4.5 hours of work.
Hero.
There was a lot of fighting behind the scenes of this between the creatives, right? So Gary Kurtz, who is the producer of Star Wars and Empire, earlier had produced American Graffiti with Lucas. They parted ways after this. And the rumors have always circulated that Lucas and him just had too many battles over creative decisions. And Lucas would go on to kind of surround himself with yes men.
That was a mistake.
But not only that, the rough cut of the film. So because there was all this conflict, when a rough cut of the film was shown, it was such a disaster that Marcia Lucas, George's then wife, and an editor on the original Star Wars reportedly broke down in tears and was crying. Lucas wanted action-driven storytelling. Kirshner had wanted quiet kind of character work. And all of them hated the rough cut. They hated the result. And what you get in the theatrical version is essentially kind of a compromise. It's some of both, which, hey guys, I think that worked.
It did. I do have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that the beginning being on Hoth and Luke going out in the freezing cold, is that because of his accident?
It is interesting, isn't it? Yes. I think I looked for some of that because I couldn't remember if that had more to do with Return of the Jedi or this, but I think it was this. And I think when the abominable snowman guy hits him,
yes,
it's meant to cover for some of the scarring he has on his face from his car accident.
It's interesting, his career path, because he has this accident.
Dude almost died.
Almost dies, and then goes on to be a prolific voice actor, but you listen to his voice back then versus his voice now, and it's drastically different. Or he's just always doing gruff voice now. I don't know. Yeah,
well, I'll tell you, even though the script writing is handled by some professionals here, which is not the case for the prequels, which the prequels get made fun of a lot for the dialogue, which they should.
Jar Jar's dialogue, chef's kiss.
But there was some very clunky dialogue in this too. Right at the beginning. It's like one of the first uttered lines of the movie when Luke's out there in the snow and he's like, "Han, old buddy, can you hear me?" I was like, ooh, that was cringy, but also very 80s. So there's something going on there that most people wouldn't get now. That's CB talk.
Yeah.
Like, so
over and out.
Truckers used to have CBs and they'd be like, come in, breaker, good, buddy. Like, that was literally CB talk. So from an 80s standpoint, 70s standpoint, I get what just happened there, but oof, cringy. So let's talk about the big thing of the movie, the big secret, how they kept I Am Your Father a secret. One of the great secrets in film history. So this is so before its time, because now we have, like, Marvel Studios engages in this where, like, only certain people know and they work real hard to keep things a secret. But back then, only George Lucas, Irvin Kershner, James Earl Jones, and eventually Mark Hamill knew the truth, but Mark didn't know at first. So David Prowse, who was the guy in the Vader costume, was given a fake line. So the acting you see by the guy in the suit, he thinks he's saying Obi-Wan killed your father. That was what was said on set when they recorded it. They pulled Mark Hamill aside moments before filming and told him the real line. Irvin Kershner told him, now I know this and George know this, and now you're going to know this, but if you tell anybody, if you tell Carrie or Harrison or anybody, we'll know it was you. So Mark Hamill kept that secret for a year and a half. And at the premiere, when that moment happens, apparently Harrison Ford, who was sitting next to him, leans over to him and he says, "Hey kid, you never told me that." Which, yeah, exactly. Harrison Ford, that sounds like something he would say. But David Prowse was furious. Now, you got to remember, some of these dudes are like real Shakespeare-trained actors. David Prowse apparently was really mad about this because he said his acting would have been completely different. Like his mannerisms, his actions in the Darth Vader suit. And if you watch, I rewatched the scene after finding this out. And I'm like, I can see it. His body language doesn't say, "Hey, I'm your dad."
Welcome home, son.
Anyways, I'm just defending David Prowse. But also the book version of Empire. So this was a thing back in the late 70s, early 80s. There was always these book versions of movies. And the book version was released a month before the movie, which was also a thing. Often these book versions would come out and hit bookshelves before the movie would come out. And it also obviously spoiled this moment. But it's a good thing nobody read books in 1980.
I don't know when the Reading Rainbow began, but after that, everyone was reading.
John Ratzenberger from Cheers.
Yeah.
Norm. He's not Norm, Cliff Clavin. He's in this movie. You can see him 15 years before voicing Ham in Toy Story. Ratzenberger played Major Bren Derlin, a rebel officer on Hoth. He said his favorite memory was that his parking space on set was right next to Jim Henson's, which had a Kermit the Frog sign on it.
John Ratzenberger has like a crazy career, and I feel deserves an episode just about him, but that will be a later discussion.
John Ratzenberger legend episode. Just throwing it out there. Frank Oz. This is the third Be Kind in a Rewind in a row that has links to Frank Oz, because he, of course, would have been helping Henson with Labyrinth.
Yes.
He was the director of What About Bob?
Which is bananas.
It is bananas, but we talked a lot about him. And then, of course, this is maybe his finest work. This is what people talk about with him, because he's the one who performs Yoda as a puppet. And Yoda was kept completely under wraps, that character, so completely that Lucasfilm instructed the crew not to mention anything about it publicly. So he wasn't in any of the publicity. So the trailers that they would put out, pictures, our ads, whatever, Yoda was a complete shock. He was not in any of the publicity, which again, masterful. Well done. The Emperor, if you remember the old version like I do, was originally an old woman with chimpanzee eyes.
I had forgotten.
Yeah, it was an old woman with a chimpanzee eyes superimposed over her face. And it turns out, like when you watch that old version, you can't even tell what it is, because it's all just so, you could tell something superimposed over something. And Clive Revel provides the voice, but Lucas later replaced it with Ian McDiarmid, of course, the Return of the Jedi actor for the Emperor for the special editions. And again, people complain about the special editions, but I find that to be one of the things like, okay, yeah, there was some really cool things he got to go back and redo that made more sense on the whole story. And that was one of those moments.
Yes.
That's kind of the list of things that were interesting that I thought I'd bring up. Did you Muppetize the movie?
I am going to go with keeping Billy D. Williams. Because it's all about Lando. Kermit will play Darth Vader.
Okay.
I want that.
All right, that's interesting.
It is a choice. Fozzie Bear will play Han, because that's how I like to view my Han Solo, as Fozzie Bear. The Swedish Chef will actually be Chewbacca this time.
Oh, that's perfect casting.
I have Gonzo being Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia being, of course, Miss Piggy, so that creates a weird dynamic, but there was a weird dynamic in this movie.
Yeah. I was real basic with this because I'm keeping Luke. Yoda's already a Muppet, of course, and I have Han Solo as Kermit. Calm under pressure, reluctant leader, in way over his head somehow, makes it work. Feels like Kermit.
I like evil Kermit.
Can't you just see Kermit flying the Millennium Falcon, kind of exasperated, go, I got a bad feeling about this. You know, it seems like Kermit to me. Leia then would have to be Miss Piggy. It just would be kind of a different Leia. And then Gonzo is the one inside the Darth Vader costume. So you don't even really get it. You get like hints at it in this one where he's like the mask is coming back on, or it's still James Earl Jones' voice, but in Return of the Jedi, it's Gonzo. When like he takes his mask off, it's Gonzo. And I think that would be hilarious. Cody, what holds up about The Empire Strikes Back?
The cast. You didn't see that coming.
Tell me about the cast, Cody.
All these people go on to do good things with their lives, I feel.
Do you think that's because they were the most talented, or do you think it's just because of the hype from Star Wars?
So with Harrison, I feel the talent was there.
Yeah. And Carrie Fisher has the pedigree.
Yeah, she has the pedigree. Mark's kind of the weak link out of that trilogy, but yet he goes on to have a prolific voice acting career, and he's been in movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
He goes on and does some good stuff. I enjoy Billy D. Williams. He's the coolest guy in the 80s. Maybe. Absolutely. And if nothing else, he gets a whole lifetime of hawking Colt 45 adult beverages. Yes. Peter Mayhew is legendary, I think, just because of this movie franchise. Yeah. Frank Oz also gets to be a prolific Muppeteer / voice actor.
Yeah, it's weird.
And director.
It's weird that Frank Oz, this is like his most memorable big thing, because I would also say he probably is fine without it.
Yep.
Because of his connection to Henson.
And then Sir Alec Guinness making his ghost appearance. And then John Ratzenberger just randomly being there.
Yeah. I'm going to say, well, first of all, everything. That's the honest answer, right?
But also, I guess I forgot James Earl Jones' voice.
Yeah, you can't forget that. The tone of this movie holds up very well.
Yes.
It's a dark tone. It's kind of got that rare blockbuster that ends with the heroes losing that sort of has now been copied occasionally. So Infinity War from Marvel is the one that comes to my mind.
I was going to say, this rewatch, I had a lesser feeling than I did with Infinity War, but I bet if I rewatch Infinity War now, that like it would be less than this. I've only watched it in theaters.
Yeah.
And so
the way this one ends is sort of legendary, summed up by Kevin Smith, great in the movie Clerks. If you remember, they're having an argument on which movie is better, Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. And Randall asks Dante, which one did you like better? And he says Empire. And Randall says blasphemy. and Dante kind of takes him through it. He says, Empire ends on such a down note. Han gets frozen in carbonite and taken away by Boba Fett. That's what life is, a series of down endings. And so the tone of this movie really holds up. And in 1980, the good side losing, taking a hit, that was sort of unheard of. Studios didn't end summer blockbusters on downers back then. And so, yeah, I thought the tone is what holds up for me.
The mythology gets fleshed out even more in this movie, and that really helps. Mm-hmm. And especially when we get to Master Yoda, who is not what you would expect.
Yeah, it's great. I'll just piggyback on the back of that. Yoda himself holds up great. A 2-foot tall puppet outacts most humans in this movie, and that's all on Frank Oz. Frank Oz performing Yoda here is a masterclass in puppetry. You forget he's a puppet within minutes of him being on the screen.
Yeah,
he's just a real character to you. And it's not like, your eyes can look at it and say that's clearly a puppet. But I think he's great. Yoda's great in this movie.
You need a shave, Yoda. You got a few hairs.
The character work really holds up. You can really tell the script writing is different in this movie than some of the other Star Wars stuff. Han and Leia's arc, of course, they get one of the great romance arcs in any franchise. And Luke's journey, kind of that he's making from cocky, impetulant farm kid to humbled, broken Jedi in trading is a fun arc. Even C-3PO has an arc in this movie. Like, there's just some really good character beats in this movie that might be missing from other Star Wars stuff.
Very much so. And I did enjoy the lines in this movie. You did bring up something that was a bit clunky at the beginning.
But for the most part, the script is much better. The dialogue's much better.
Much better, and it's very quotable. Now, it has like the most misquoted line in cinematic history.
Yes.
Because everyone's,
as we demonstrated,
like, Luke, I am your father. And, no, I am your father. Also, pray I don't alter the deal any further. I love that.
There's real funny stuff in here too. Like laugh out loud. I laughed out loud even though I've known these lines forever. A lot of it to do with Harrison Ford and his delivery of the line. But when Leia says, "I'd rather kiss a Wookiee," that can be arranged. He could use a good kiss. He's walking away. He's just Harrison Ford in his younger days when he was like over the top angry. That delivery is just gold.
It is. And his delivery of "I know," iconic. And so like this movie has iconic lines and iconic scenes that stand out and get replicated within the culture decades later.
Not only an iconic line, but ad-libbed. The line as written was "I love you too."
That's lame.
And it is very lame. And Han Solo, in the moment, said, "I know." And by the way, that whole scene, it's like you're watching a different movie. Mm-hmm. From the moment they march into that room for the carbonite freezing, Carrie Fisher is doing like work just with her face here. For whatever reason, this movie has moments that are unlike any other Star Wars movie. And I don't know, you can give the credit to the director or the scriptwriter, whatever you want to give credit to. But that entire scene, I'm like almost moved to tears. I've seen this movie 100 times, Cody. And the way she says it too, it often gets lost because of his iconic ad lib.
Yes.
The way she says it, where she's almost trying to blurt it out because she feels like this might be the last time she gets a chance. And she's been avoiding it the whole movie.
The whole stinking movie.
And she says, "I love you." Like it has such an urgency and desperation to it. And then to his calm, cool, collected, "I know." And it's tender too. "I know." Oh, masterclass, Cody.
Oh, yeah.
Masterclass. And it's so weird to see in a Star Wars movie because the rest of the franchise, you're not used to this level of acting. And in this scene, it's just, wow. It's great. Great stuff.
Yes.
Anything else hold up for you?
You know, the actual sets hold up because there is a dark tone throughout the movie, but like you go from like a beautiful snowy drop and then you go to the Cloud City and then like you're inside
yeah
and like in this dark place and all those mechanisms around Luke and Darth Vader fighting, and it makes for that moment to like feel even more cold and like rip your heart out.
Yeah. So the difference between episode 4 and episode 5, what are we talking about here? 3-4 years
Yes.
in production? It's night and day, because the effects don't hold up and the sets don't hold up great in 4. They hold up much better in this movie. And maybe they just got better at it. They just were able to do more things with the money they earned from episode 4. I don't know. But the practical effects too, the walkers, the asteroid field chase, the miniatures, the matte paintings, none of that is aged very poorly because it was all built and shot in cameras. And then, of course, Cloud City itself. Cloud City as a concept is a floating city in the sky run by the coolest dude in the universe.
Yes.
Lando. It's pure imagination. Like, it's imagination fuel. And when you see them flying to the city and you get like the pulled out landscape view of it, oh my gosh, these are the things dreams are made of.
It is.
Anything else?
That is where I will stop with my buttering up of this movie.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to bring up John Williams. This might have been his best work in the franchise. The Imperial March in its entirety is introduced in this movie. The asteroid field theme, the Han and Leia love theme. I feel like I say this every time we bring up John Williams, but it's peak John Williams. And as I was watching this movie, I realized how much of the music I could listen to separated from the movie and tell you without looking that it's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that must be to make a score that holds on to elements of the ongoing story, but yet is unique enough for you to be able to pinpoint the movie? That's crazy.
And potentially scenes within the movie.
So great. Yeah. Han Solo, of course, is on my list too. Harrison Ford is at the peak of his charms in this movie, and we talked all about it. But one last thing, and this is the big thing for me, because this was hard for me to put into words, but I have to try. There's a feel to this movie. I've already talked about this a little bit. And honestly, the whole original trilogy that I can't shake on this rewatch. And that feeling is sincerity. You compare it to every piece of IP put in front of us in the last 5 to 10 years. Even the stuff I kind of like. Even the stuff that we would say is well made. On some level, all of it feels contrived compared to this. There's winks, there's callbacks, there's Easter eggs. There's always a sense now that with IP stuff that the product matters more than the story. Empire doesn't have any of that. Yoda's a Muppet on a swamp planet teaching a farm kid to lift a spaceship out of a lake. And the movie treats that moment with the same gravity as Shakespeare in the park. Like it's serious. It's real. There's no winks. There's no nods. There's no we're selling toys off of this, although they were selling toys.
Don't worry, they got their money.
But this movie, this story believes in itself. And because it believes, you believe. And I just couldn't shake that feeling. Like, I feel like the authenticity in this storytelling just jumps off the screen at you. And I just think it's wonderful. I had all the good feelings watching this last night. It was great. Cody, we've buttered it up enough. What doesn't hold up?
I'm going to go off the beaten path to begin with.
Okay.
What doesn't hold up is some of the critiques from The Last Jedi.
Okay, we're going there.
Yeah.
We're going there.
We are going there.
Tell me about Luke.
So, Luke Skywalker, you watch this movie, and especially when he goes to where Yoda's at. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Like, you want to punch Luke Skywalker in the face.
So much.
Yoda wants to hit him with his stick. Like, he's so frustrated with this one because he's whiny, he's angry, he doesn't pay attention, doesn't have the mindset of hope, and he just gives up all the time. Talking about his father, and Yoda, like, is like he's too much like his dad. And since my dear friend George Lucas made the prequels, we now have what little Annie Skywalker was like. Mm-hmm. And once you get to episode 3 and you get the disappointment of not being made a Jedi, you get just a little voice off to the side telling you that there's a way to be even stronger than the Jedis. Go to the dark side. Yes, this is within Luke's DNA that he is going to be weak-minded. He's going to be pouty. He's going to brood. He's going to give up. It's in this movie, and it's within his DNA from episodes 1 through 3 that this is what his dad does. He is very much his father's son. The only thing is he doesn't completely go to the dark side.
No. Actually, yeah, if you'll allow me, one, let me just echo what you've just said. I don't know how anybody can watch this movie and not understand how he ends up where he ends up in Last Jedi. To me, it makes all the sense in the world that this Luke we see in the original trilogy ends up as that Luke in Last Jedi. In fact, it makes the most sense of anything else in those sequels to me.
Yes.
Like, to me, I get it. He's petulant. He's impatient. He's all these things. None of that's going to get fixed just because he wins the day. Bad times will keep us doing the right thing. Desperate times will keep us moving in the right direction. But think about when all that's over. The Empire falls. He tries to create his own Jedi Council group, and it fails miserably. He fails. So what do you think he's going to do? Furthermore, I'm going to say that his position in Last Jedi isn't a loss. That's actually him being mature.
Yes.
He gives up on being the big man. And he understands that this is how the Jedi got themselves into trouble to begin with. He says, actually, what I need to do is I need to get out of here, stop meddling in the galaxy's affairs, and take the Jedi out of this equation immediately, because from his point of view, and he's not wrong, the Jedi have caused the last 50-ish years of chaos.
You go back to old Annie Skywalker, it's all because of how the Jedi handle him.
So Last Jedi Luke is actually has been heroic.
By the end of it, for sure. And I will say, like, him removing himself and pouting on the planet at the temple, all lonesome and off the grid, people revert back to their core learnings and basic instincts when life is getting wonky. And with him having the high of highs that we get at the end of this original trilogy, and then seeing, oh no, my nephew who has all the force ability that I have because his mom has maybe even more force ability and has Han's capabilities and wit and anger. Now he has gone to the dark side. I'm done. I'm just done. And that's what he would have done in this movie. Because literally he was done when his fighter jet goes into the water.
Well, how hard would it be to face your friends after that? And be the cause of their split up too. Like, it's sort of. Because it's assumed in the sequels that they have split up because of the rough things they've lived through, including losing their son to the dark side. Like, all that would matter. But
yes. Yeah. So it's human nature. It's within his nature. And it's spelled out in this movie.
Yeah. So what about this movie? Do you have anything that doesn't hold up specifically for Empire?
Sometimes the pacing felt a little weird. That like we're rapidly going through this and then like we're way slowed down and then we're rapid and yeah.
So I have a very short list because this is a great movie, but one of them does have to do with that. The Han Leia romance moves awfully fast. They go from bickering, which you're meant to believe that the bickering is clearly because Leia does like him. Mm-hmm. But they go from that to passionate kiss in what feels like about 15 minutes of screen time. The chemistry is real. The writing is good, but the pacing feels ever so slightly compressed. And the Battle of Hoth ends with the rebels just running away.
As one does.
It's effective dramatically, the whole escape from Hoth, but it feels a little like akin. I feel like they needed one win in this that they don't really get. but maybe that just adds to the movie itself. But let's talk about Leia kissing Luke, because that's the big thing, if we're being honest.
So I think that George Martin probably thanks George Lucas and company for this.
That's a Game of Thrones joke.
Because if I'm not mistaken, George R.R. Martin doesn't like publish his books till the 90s.
Yeah, they're later.
So, yep, George
R.R. Martin, you can just see him going, what if we took this in a more serious direction? Yeah, that checks out. So Leia kisses Luke to make Han jealous. Then we find out in the next movie that they're brother and sister, and clearly, the movie doesn't know yet. And Lucas's timeline is sort of suspect on whether he has said he knew they were family at this point, but I don't know if we believe him as far as that goes. But rewatching it now gave me all the ews.
So that is, especially since we now have the prequels.
Yeah.
I wonder if there would be, if Lucasfilms is like, we're going to edit all these again, if that is a scene that gets removed.
Well, they've got some work to do in those prequels too, because the whole Anakin, Princess Amidala, Queen Amidala thing, a little wonky as well.
Yes.
Pastor's Corner. Cody, do or do not, there is no try.
Another quotable line.
Yeah, one of the most quoted lines in film history. And I think it might be one of the most theologically loaded lines, too. Yoda isn't just being, a tiny green motivational speaker guy here. This is actually quite profound. When you hedge at commitment, that's not commitment. You're either all in or you're all out. Half stepping in, that's not it. Trying isn't faith. That's not faith. Trying is the version of commitment you offer when you want the credit for the attempt without the risk of actually doing the thing. And Yoda, I love that Yoda has no patience for it in this movie, because he's right on. There's a verse in Revelation, Cody, that says, because you are lukewarm, neither cold nor hot, and I love that it's lukewarm,
I see what you did there.
I will spit you out. I'm just saying, Jesus and Yoda, they're on the same page here. The middle is the most dangerous place to live. The fence isn't safer than actual commitment, because the fence convinces you that you're just being thoughtful when really you're just being scared. And Luke says, I'll try. Yoda says, no, there is no try. You got to trust. You got to commit. And then later on, when Luke fails at lifting the X-Wing out of the swamp and Yoda does it rather effortlessly, I love that it's followed up with Luke saying, I don't believe it. And Yoda says, and that is why you fail. Perfect. Like that has such depth to it. That's great stuff. That's your deeper theme.
That is.
Who's your winner of the movie?
I think I will go with bad lip reading. Because Seagull's Stop It Now might be one of my all-time favorite bad lip readings ever.
It certainly ties our children's generation to Star Wars in a way that they weren't.
I will say it did slightly alter my viewing of those scenes, just because I'm like, oh, this is where he's banging on R2-D2 to make that sound.
I mean, you can't watch him beating on R2 with the stick and not go, like it just is in there.
Yes.
It's like stuck in my head.
So they won this movie several decades later.
My winner of the movie is going to be Yoda. He shows up halfway through this film as a weird little goblin in a swamp, poking Luke with a stick and R2. And within 20 minutes, he's the most compelling character on the screen. I just keep thinking of Frake Oz performing with this 2-foot tall puppet. Like, so he's in a hole, basically, in the ground. And he's below. And that this puppet is out acting most of the humans in the movie. Certainly Mark Hamill.
Sorry, Mark.
You forget as I said earlier, you forget he's not real. You forget that Frank Oz is in a hole operating him. You just see Yoda. You just see the wisdom and the mischief and the 900 years of Jedi experience. And all of it comes through this felt foam character. He gives you one of the most quoted lines in the franchise. He gives you that scene with the X-Wing lift and the wisdom. And he does it all without ever blinking because he can't blink because he's a puppet.
Spoilers.
They would fix that in Labyrinth, by the way, with Hoggle.
They would.
Yeah. So my winner of the movie is Yoda. Cody, who's your loser of the movie?
This is tough to say because on paper, he definitely wins at life and gets all the monies. But I think it's George Lucas.
Okay. That's interesting. Tell me.
So Lucas writes this.
I know where you're going with it.
But it gets adapted for the screen by someone else. Mm-hmm. And we noted that there are several quoted lines that are all-time lines in movie quotes, like out in the ether, if you will, of it all. The story moves pretty good for the most part. The directing, there's a noticeable difference between that and the first movie. And George isn't directing it. So, like, George being a writer and, like, executive producer, good.
Yeah.
George doing everything, not as good.
No.
I feel like people can look at this and say, George having some part of Star Wars is good, but George having all the parts of Star Wars might limit it.
Yeah, I don't think how you could argue against it at this point. Although I will say the sequels happening probably give him all the fuel in his mind that he was right all along.
Again, you need to have George have some part of it, I feel.
I agree. The perfect Empire Strikes Back represents the perfect flow. Although they were fighting behind the scenes.
It almost brought balance to the Force, if you will.
Nice pull. My loser of the movie, Lando Calrissian.
Everyone's favorite.
And I want to be clear because I've always empathized with Lando. I'm one of the few people who've always defended Lando because I'm like the guy who's like, well, they arrived right before you did. He had no choice. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
He has a whole city of people to protect. The Empire was already in his living room.
Literally the most powerful dude in the whole Empire is in his living room.
And he ends up the loser of the movie because Han gets frozen in carbonite on his watch. His city falls to the Empire. His entire reputation as a smooth operator gets reduced to the guy who sold out his friend. And his name becomes synonymous with traitor in the 1980s. He's like the Benedict Arnold of the 1980s. When a kid was trying to tell another kid that they were a traitor, he would call them a Lando. You're a Lando. And I'm just like, nah, man, Lando doesn't deserve this. He's literally by the end of the movie, he's fighting with them. He's trying to rescue the rest of them, get him in a place, and which, by the way, he does get him in a place where we can turn all this back.
You also have to think about the character of Han. Han's a little sketchy. He's not always on the up and up.
Yeah.
And so the company he's going to keep, they're going to have their moments where they're not on the up and up. And so, yeah, I feel bad for Lando and the Lando slander that happens to him.
For sure. Cody, how many Dagobahs out of 10 do you give this movie?
It's a solid 9.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I think it's like a 9.75. It is near perfection.
On the best of days, maybe a 9.5 for me. It's in that 9 to 9.5 range.
There is just enough clunky dialogue still in this to knock it down a quarter of a point.
Yes.
But doggone it holds up so well.
So I also think, because I need to do a rewatch of a handful of Star Wars movies, there's one that I have that's right up there with it that I don't think I can give it super high rating just because if I think that one's better after a rewatch, I can't go that high.
Is it Return of the Jedi?
It is not.
No. Okay.
That's my hot take.
Okay.
And it's a super hot take, and I will not share it until after I have done my rewatch.
Because I'm also one of those people who I think watching Return of the Jedi now, I think it holds up remarkably well.
I just really like the Ewoks.
Yeah, so do I. All right, man. That's it. Listeners, what did you guys think of Empire Strikes Back? Are you huge fans? Is this the best Star Wars can get, in your opinion? Let us know on the social media posts for this episode. And of course, as always, make sure you subscribe to us, follow us on social media, do all that stuff so you don't miss anything we do. Next week, it's Mandalorian and Grogu time. We're staying Star Wars.
It's happening.
It's happening, for better or for worse. We'll see you next week.